Hey everyone! Thanks for joining me today. Let me make this a little bit bigger. All right. So, hey, thanks for joining me. It has been a little while. I am here to relax and craft with you guys today. So, thanks for joining me. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for beginners. And I have not been here for about a month here, you guys, and we are working on the ABC quilt. I'd like to sew some rows together today and maybe some more of the blocks. We're doing the Quilt As You Go process. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay and everything. We may have some camera situations today, but we'll just keep turning it on and off and see how it goes. So I am planning to be here at least an hour. I'm hoping maybe a couple hours. So we'll see. See how it goes today. Oh, hey Cheryl, hey Sally. So thank you guys for popping in. Yeah, so we'll be here for hopefully a couple hours. I want to sew some rows together. This is the Quilt As You Go process. I don't have all the backs done on these. We'll kind of go over, review where we're at because it's been a little while. So awesome. And baby's good and all that's going well. So that's kind of why I've been on hiatus a little bit is we've just been working on rebuilding the upstairs a little bit. So we've had family over just helping. And this is like I think the only time that's been available to do this so far over the past month. So starting week 35 today. So just like 5 more weeks here, people. Then there'll be a baby, so we'll see. Anywho, let's flip around and see what we got going on here. Just kind of recap where we're at and get going. So, all right, let's do it. Okay, so I have my little bin here of the ABC quilt. So here is my little chart for it, and I think I'm pretty well organized here. So let's just take a look. I have so above these were 2 rows. So we kind of have all the rows done except for the last row has a quilt label that we're gonna put on it. That's this row here. So eventually I'll need to add another corner block here, and I wanted the front to be just like the other corner blocks, but the back I want to be the quilt label. And we have, I think we have like underneath, here's my quilt label, so we'll have to pick one from here eventually, but I don't think we'll get to all that today. But anyway, so that's the last row. Here are all the little animals. So we got the corner piece, and then our little XYZ. And then again, we'll have another piece here, but none of these on the back. I haven't finished the Quilt As You Go process to cover up the raw edges on here. So that's this one we need to finish that on, and also the row before. It looks like we have to do all of the back. Folding that sashing over. But here's this row. So we got the ST with these little guys on. Oh, I forgot how much detail is in that that quilting there. V and W. So that entire row we need to do the sashing on the back for. So these two rows need hand stitching. So we might get to some of that today as well. So we'll see how it goes. And then these rows, which is like A through N rows. So 4 rows, I think are actually completely done and ready to stitch up. So let's just double check them all. All right, so they're in order, it looks like. So here's the A row. B, C. So what I mean by finished sashing, so these sashing pieces, you can see have covered up those raw edges. We've kind of folded this back sashing piece over and hand stitched it. So that's, these are done. So these rows are ready to sew a really long piece of sashing a long piece of sashing to attach one row to the next. And that's kind of where I want to start today. Although I think there's going to be prep to do for that. That's what we need to find out. So I'm going to leave, here's the first row. Let's do row 1 to row 2. So I'm going to leave that there. And then here's our next row is, yeah, this is the next row. I'm going to keep referring back to my little diagram here. D, E, F, G, and H. Let's just double check that all of these backs are done. Yes, okay, so this is what I want to attach to the other one. And then let's just double check to see where we're at with these next two. So this is the I row. I, J, K, that's the one with your little baby. And L and M. Checking the rows. So ideally, we get this done before baby comes. So that's the plan. We'll see. Quilts always take longer than expected, but you know, that's kind of the name of the game. So N-O-P. Oh yeah, I forgot that we hand stitched this one and has little wings and stuff too. And we add a little baby quail to this one. And our fun little raccoon. I haven't taken off any of the water-soluble marker yet, but we'll get there when we get there. Okay, so these two I'm going to put aside for later. And then in here, the rest of my kind of bin here, I have just an extra piece of backing and one piece of batting, and then the quilt labels. This is what will end up being the final label, or the final corner next to the letter Z. Once we get that far. And then I have some sashing. We have cut all of our sashing from a bunch of old penguin and fish fabric that we just kind of pieced together. So it's just all different size pieces that we piece together. This is like one long roll. I don't know if I'm going to have enough here to actually do a row, to sew one of these long rows, because we actually need two of the long rows, one for the front and one for the back. So the first thing we need to do is measure to see if we even have enough here. So we got to do some math, see what we got. And if not, I do have more fabric. We just need to cut it into 1-inch strips and sew it to this. So a whole prep work might be involved. But for now, I'm going to leave this out just because I think it's handy to see, but then the rest of these I'm gonna put back in here. So these two we could actually sew together as well, because these both are done. But again, we'll definitely need more strips for that. So, all right, let's just close this up so it's out of the way. Okay, first things first. Okay, we need to know how big our rows are gonna be. And we could just measure how big this is, but with these long rows, oh, Donna, it doesn't look like it's frozen on my end. Let's see, hopefully. Let me check the Facebook feed. I don't know if I can tell or not. But let me know, anyone else, if it's frozen, but it doesn't look frozen on my end. Oh, I can't tell what Facebook is doing, so. All right. Well, let me know if it's bad for anyone else, but it does look fine on my side right now. Okay. Ooh, and let me get the other chat up again. All right, so the quilting on the blocks. Oh, it's wonderful. Oh, thanks, Michelle. All right, so, I could clip these edges off, but I don't think I'm going to bother with that. Okay, math. Let's get a pencil out as well. Okay, so I think what we're ending up with is each of these, when they're finished, are going to be 8 inches. So we start out with 8.5 inches, and then once we sew it, it's 8 inches. So each one of these, and I think I have this actually written down in the blog post, how big this actually is, but oh God, and I don't know if I'm ready for math today. If these are each 8 inches, that's 5, so that's 40, right? So 40, And then each of these are ending up being 1/2 inches. So that's 1 inch and 2 inches. So we're at 42 inches. And then we actually have the seam allowance on the side here yet. So that's like 42.5 if we have like a 1/4 inch on one side and 1/4 inch on the other. Does that seem like math? Let's do that again. Let's just actually even just double check that this is 8 inches. It should be. Grab myself a ruler. It should be pretty close. Ooh, move the stack. Yeah, so 8 inches. Good. So we're on the right page here. So there's 5 blocks that are 8 inches. Again, 40 inches, right? And then a sashing, that's 1 inch. Sashing, that's 2 inch. And then an extra 1/4 inch on the ends for a 1/2 inch. So 42.5 is how long these strips are going to be. And why I want to do it, with math like that is just so, like, I don't accidentally just like start sewing on it. Like, I could just like put this on the end and start sewing, right? But then, you know, what if this ends up being a little squished or a little stretched out compared to the other rows? We're gonna have like a big like wobble going. So what I want to do instead is like use math so it's all the same, and then we'll mark them centers and make sure the centers are super lined up, and then just like keep marking out so everything just hopefully is good and happy. So if that makes sense. So all right, first thing I want to do I have 42.5 inches times 2, because I need a back sashing and a front sashing here, and I suspect this might be a bit short, so I'm just going to kind of match the ends together. Let's just use this ruler here. I'll go by tens. So first I'm just checking if I have enough. I'll have to measure for real if we do have enough to cut, but let's just do a quick, even if we're in the ballpark. So 10, 20. Ooh, we might have it. 30. Oh, we totally have it. Excellent. 40, and then 42.5. Yes. Okay, great. So we have enough for our first row. Let's like do this for real. So I'm going to scooch all this out of the way. Let's get our cutting mat. Double this guy up here. Okay, and then I think maybe I'll go by the 20 mark here. All right, let's keep these folded together. I don't have to press this because we've already pressed it and it looks pretty good yet. We rolled it up pretty decently. Okay, I guess I'm gonna just like mark on the 20 and then drag it over like what I just did, and then that'll be 40, and then drag it over and then do another 2.5 inches. I think that's fine. I don't need to do any different than that, do I? I don't think so. All right, let's just match it up real well here. Yeah, I think I do want it the exact length because that'll help us measure later. Okay, yeah. I think we're doing it right. Plop that there. Just going to the end here. I know you guys can't quite see, but I'm just going to I'm not stretching it or anything. I'm just bringing it to the 0 mark. Putting it on the 20 again. Okay, right there. Bring it to the end. It does want to stretch just because it's all sewn together and stuff, and I'm sure I didn't cut it perfectly, but try not to stretch it. Okay. This is 40. Right there, and then we need 2.5. Yeah, 42.5. So 2.5. Right there is where we want to cut it. That's 17.5 mark on here. Okay. Ooh, I need to get a rotary cutter out. You guys, it's been so long since I've done any of this. This is just feels goofy. All right, there we go. So obviously, when we do the next row, I'm not gonna have enough. So we're good for one row here. I don't need any more sashing to do the small, like the tall sashings in it, the ones in between the blocks. All I need now are the long pieces, so we definitely need to cut a whole pile more if I'm going to do more than one row. But maybe we'll just do the one row, and then I can hand stitch those other ones today, and then, I don't know, see how we feel, see how far we get at that point. All right, let's scooch all this out of the way. Next up, we're gonna try and pin this all together. And by pin, I mean getting the wonder clips out here. All right, so get that behind. All right, here's our 2 rows. So what I'm gonna wanna do is mark the center of all of these. So let's start with our strips here. Ooh, and this guy, we don't need a little extra strip right now, so let's clear the table. So I am going to just fold these together. I'm just gonna put like a little fold right in the middle, and we're calling that our center. Oh, Jean said, first time caught alive for today. Oh, I sound different today. My ear is plugged. That might have something to do with it. Oh, it sounds like Facebook is stalling. So YouTube has been fine so far. I'm also on TikTok. That is a little bit of a different angle. All right, so I'm gonna put like a tiny fold. It's right at a seam here, so I'm just gonna like put a fold there, and then I'm gonna get a clip on there right away too. So again, one of these strips is for the back and one is for the front. I'm just gonna mark the center. So the center of this clip is the center of the piece, of the row, and same thing here, right on that little fold we made. Oh, Amy says, Facebook's still good. Yeah, everything's been weird. Andrea says, that's my cousin, says, these are also adorable, Alyssa. I can't believe baby will be here in a month. Yeah. Me neither. This is, oh, another Chad. Oh, Andrea, I just saw that. I'm like, oh, you're like the Chad finder. So Andrea's my cousin, and she was the one who originally found Chad the kitty and brought him to my parents' house, and I just saw your video. They found a whole nother kitty who actually looks a whole lot like Chad. That's gonna have to be your Chad, Andrea. All right, let's get the row 1 here. So now what I want to do basically is we're gonna take this first row. So this is the A, B, C row, and I'm going to match the center. We're gonna sew both of these rows onto this one first. So we gotta clip it. A lot more clipping than when we just do these little guys, because we got the whole row to deal with, and we want it to be like all stretched out perfectly across. So I want to find the center of this piece, which I'm gonna just call the center of this letter B. Even if it's like shifted one way or the other, like we're gonna just force the center of this to be the center of the whole piece. I think you know what it is. So one strip has to go this way, and then the other strip will go on the back. So right sides together here, and then like right sides together on the back as well. So we want to match up those halfway points first, and then we will go to the end here and like match up the ends, and then try and balance it all out in the center. That's the plan. And then we got to do it. We got to make sure that we do it on the back too. I might try and do it at the same time and clip them at the same time. So we'll see. So let's just do a little fold. Let's match up these seams as best we can. I'm gonna just put like a little press the inside like what we did here. I think maybe I'll be able to see that. Yeah, that's not bad. And I'm just kind of like willy-nilly choosing what's front and back on this as far as these strips. I think this is fine. So all right, so that's kind of the center. The center of this is the center, or it should be. So I'm going to match that up to this center. I still can see the fold, I think. So let's just match that one up. Reclip. Okay, that should be pretty near the center. And then we'll go over here. Oh, Jean's asking, do you sell the patterns that you send to the customer in the mail, or do we have a ton to print? So we do have both. So we have, and for this, we have the PDF versions. That's if you do want to print them yourself. And we do actually have the physical iron-on versions as well. And then we have that's just the pattern, but it does have an iron-on pattern in there, so you can just iron it on. It has a traceable pattern as well that we send to you. So 2 different versions, a printable pattern and a PDF pattern. And so you can choose in the shop for that. We should have links below for that. Yeah, and then we have other supplies if you need hoop and needles and all that as well. And then we do have a blog post on kind of how I'm going about making this quilt. And it does have our little diagram too, is free. All right, so we got the centers. Now I'm gonna like mark the ends, and since we measured perfectly, I should just be able to like go clip the ends right where they line up with the end of our piece here. Oh, you're talking about the purse patterns. So like the those zipper pouches. I'm talking about purse patterns. Oh, like for like a project that we've done in the past that's been like a purse. Those are typically other people's designs that we're working on. I'm not quite sure I'm like quite understanding. But those would probably have links to the designer. Otherwise, we have the free zipper pouch on our website. All right, so you can see it's kind of like loose here. If I stretch these out a little bit, they get a little tighter. So I think I'm going to just kind of walk towards the center and just kind of match up this area. We can adjust as we go a little bit. Oh, my little bin's closed here. Let's keep that open. So we have a couple free zipper pouch and tote bag patterns, but I don't have like any more advanced like purse patterns. And if we've done one here, it was someone else's pattern that we got permission to use, like So Sweetness maybe. So those can be found on their website. And if you saw it on a YouTube video, there's probably a link to that. All right, I'm having this again, kind of stretching it out and clip in again. And you know what? Should I just mega clip this? Does this need another clip in the middle? Do we think? I don't know. I don't think we need it. Oh, did I not? Oh, this is for the other side. I'm like, oh, did I not clip the back on any of these? All right, so I'm going to the center of these again. Oh, Amy says sewing borders on a quilt. Looks like you joined me to sew. That's nice. We have a little sewing party together. And I can cut these, but I'm just like, I'll sew over them and I can cut them later. This is a little tricky to line up that back piece as well. Maybe I'll flip this over and just see how we're looking when we're done here. Amy says, yes, mega clip. Like I should go, yeah, you're probably right. Let's go back into, because this does feel a little bit bigger than this, although, I'm sure I could mega press this and get it to match up. So we're kind of forcing the match up with the sewing, which I think is fine. Fine. We'll We'll mega clip. Let's add a clip. Oh, and okay, so I also wanted to machine do this. So all these other ones, sashing pieces, we sewed the front pieces like what we're doing now, but then we hand stitched the back piece on. Like it was like a flap, but to like close the flap, we hand stitched. I want to machine do that here, and I saw there's a couple ways I could do that. I could the next step where we sew it to the row, the other row, I could do it onto the back first instead of the front, and then fold the front over and then sew, or I don't know. There's a way to do it on the back where the back. I don't know. I don't quite know how I want to do that yet. So, because when we do sew it, either the front or the back is going to have like a little edge to it. Like you're going to see that tiny little fold. So I'm not sure what side I want to see that little fold on yet, but we're going to have to decide after I sew this bit on and press it. Yeah, because if I do it on the back, then I can sew it on the front and I can just stitch in the ditch so it'll almost be invisible. But then I'm gambling if I catch this edge just right, and I'm a little scared about that. So I might want to sew on the back and then have that little edge on the front and just try and get really close to the edge. I think that might be what I err on doing. I don't know. We'll get to there. I'm thinking too far ahead. I can do this part, step one, without having to make that decision. So all these little bits take decisions and all that. Okay. I think this is, we'll get two more on this side. Right here and in between these two, and then we got to do the same thing on the other side. But it should be pretty even because we started from that center and we're just kind of stretching as we go. I think the back's looking all lined up, so that's good. All right, next side. Make sure these edges are together, or like I didn't twist the sashing at all. All right, let's get this guy and this guy lined up with the end. It'll be our starting point. Boop. Oh, you're talking about like messenger bags. Yeah, I don't know if we've done I've done a messenger bag way back in the day, but I don't even know if that might have been before live videos. So I haven't done a messenger bag, but we did a tote bag. Like if you go to penguinandfish.com and then in the search bar, write in tote bag, there should be a blog post that comes up for that with like a free pattern for that, I think. We might have done that live, actually. Gosh. Everything seems so long ago. It's been so long since I've done these videos. But yeah, so you guys, we're working on our upstairs. Oh yeah, Lynn, the sashing is 1 inch. So once it's sewn in, it'll be a 1/2 inch. Oh, Lynn, and yes, it is being recorded. I think it'll just probably, if you're on Facebook there, I think it'll just stay there. But it'll be up on YouTube for sure as well. I'm doing that kind of like stretching this in the middle thing to kind of even everything out, and I'm just gonna like walk my fingers to the center, kind of grab a spot. This is gonna take a while to press too. I like working small so much better. Like I feel like, we've done all these projects where we're working on these tiny little bits, tiny little blocks, like with this in the Splendid Sampler, which is also a quilt that is unfinished. And then once we get to the whole assembly of the quilt and everything, it's like these big floppy pieces, and it's just, I think I like working in this small arena. It always gets like, I feel like unruly at this point. But it's also at the point when we've been working on a project for a long time too. So I don't know, maybe by the time I get to like assembling the quilts, maybe I'm just like kind of over the project a little bit. That could be. I don't know. I think it's just I like working with the small little bits and don't like all this stuff flopping all over the place. That could be. All right. Let's grab a few more clips here. Okay. Ooh, this is kind of a lot. Not stretching. Ugh. All right. We're going to have to really feed this. So normally, if I had a walking foot, I would probably use the walking foot at this point. So if you guys are working on this and have a walking foot for your machine, I would use that because we're pretty thick right now. And what a walking foot does, you know, your machine has those feed dogs, which is the little zigzaggy guys that like grab your fabric from underneath. So that's kind of, it's pulling your fabric while it slides on top like this. If you're doing a walking foot, it grabs from the top and the bottom. So it's grabbing both and pulling. Whereas, you know, when you're just on a normal foot and your feed dogs are grabbing, it can kind of stretch and slide a little bit on top. So by having a walking foot, you're grabbing with like teeth from the top and bottom, which is great with, you know, quilting. When you're working with like these thick pieces and stuff. I do not have one of those right now. But we did, I did bring the other sewing machine, the 70s Kenmore. I did bring it to the shop finally. That's what we've been free motion quilting with because my feed dogs are stuck down. So I can't sew straight lines or anything with it. I can only do the free motion quilting. I finally brought that to the shop. It's done. I brought it to the shop near my parents, and they're picking it up today. So I'm hoping we can get that working, but we'll see. I'm hoping it's like, yeah, functioning as a normal sewing machine again. All right, we are all. Ooh, hold on here. Ugh, it's spam o'clock. I don't know if you guys heard that. My phone just went off. I get spam phone calls about this time of day. Okay. All right, so we're done clipping. I'm gonna sew these first two pieces on, and then we need to decide what side I'm going to sew onto here. I'll kind of show you. I can once this is sewn, I can explain a little bit better what my dilemma is. And then we need to decide that before I press, because I'm only going to press one side, one flap, one sashing piece over, and not the other. So I need to pay attention. We need to make a decision on that. So, all right, I'm going to grab a stiletto here. That's going to help me feed this through the machine. And let's get my light on here. Get this in my lap. And our first bit for the day, actually, let's start with a leader, just so I have something on the machine. So this is that leader and ender project that you know is ongoing. I'm making like half square triangles indefinitely with scrap fabric, and eventually I want to turn this into like a quilt coat. I got a bunch of blocks sewn together, but not enough for the whole quilt. But anyway, so I'm instead of like using, I think they're on the floor. Instead of like using little extra pieces of fabric to start and end my row, I'm actually starting and ending with a whole nother project. Oh gosh, this machine has not been used in a while either. I did wind another bobbin before starting today, just in case. There we go. And I have that on deck. The thread broke, so the bobbin isn't like super full, but I think I'm gonna do a little back tack on here to hold this together a little bit better. But I don't think I'll actually need a ton of thread to do this. Okay, so we're to that first one, and I mean, it's bubbling up a little bit, so I'm just gonna try and, I don't know, maybe pull a little and ease that a little. Hopefully I didn't put a little crease in just now, but. I think we're fine. So this is what we're gonna deal with it. So I think that's good that we added lots of clips to this. Oh, Sally says some of my older animal kits don't have the letters included. Oh yes. So some of these animals did get turned into kits at one point, and they don't have the letters on. So yes, we do have. Oh, you mean like the whole like just the letters as the alphabet? I don't have that available. We do have every animal with the letter on, but I don't have the alphabet all by itself. We had talked about doing that at one time, but I just think didn't get to it. Ooh, I lost a. Oh, this clip full on broke. All right, let's keep that to the side. Lost a clip here. But luckily the tension between this seems pretty good. All right, this is a little more bubbly here, so let's kind of ease this fabric through. It doesn't look at the edge together here. This is the center as well, so we're approaching that. All right, we're getting it. After we sew this, I think I am gonna trim off these extra edges because they're gonna get in our way soon here. Oh, is this an old-timey machine? It is definitely an old-timey machine. I think this one is from, it's a Kenmore from, oh, I have this written down somewhere. I think, oh yeah, 1938 is when this machine is from. It's got this fun black crinkle, I think it's called a crinkle finish, where it's like a matte finish that's got like this little bit of texture to it. But I got this at like a big, our town, the textile center in town, which is just awesome to have that. Anyway, the textile center, like once or twice a year, puts on like a huge, almost like rummage sale. So people donate, you know, yarn or patterns or any craft supplies that they have, and that includes old sewing machines and stuff that people are just getting rid of. And so then they collect a bunch of stuff and then they sell it. And we got this from there, and it came with like a really cool case that someone like hand painted, you know, the person's name on, and it's just really fun. I call it the steampunk sewing machine because it's kind of like got these fun little designs and stuff on. I'm not quite sure I don't think I can move things to share it all that well. I do have a YouTube video on it, kind of showing it a little bit. Right here, I'm gonna try and hold the end in place. And I can take a picture when we're done sewing today too. All right, let's grab another leader and ender. Yeah, it works awesome, and I love it so much. I've learned a lot about it, like how to oil it and clean it, which I need to do. And it just has like the best sound. What's neat about it too is it runs on a pulley motor system. So it doesn't have a belt. So a lot of times you have your motor with a little wheel on, and then your big like side wheel. I don't know what the name's called, and it has a belt. And the little motor is moving the belt. This doesn't have that. The motor has a wheel, and then the big wheel touches the small wheel and then makes it go. So you don't have a belt at all. That had its own little issues, but we figured it out. We put it like it was like slipping the two wheels when they're like touching. They weren't like gripping each other. But we put like some silicone little rings on the small motor pulley wheel, and then that worked. It worked great after that. Okay, I'm gonna just turn this off so it's a little less in the way. All right, I'm gonna just toss all these back in here because. Oh, this is another broken one. What the heck? Oh, no, that's not broke. Oh, yeah, it is. Look at that. 2 broken Wonder Clips? What the heck? That ain't right. Huh. I don't know if I've had any of those break before. This one, too, looks like it has like a little... It must just be a weak spot right there. Interesting. I guess, there's a lot of pressure on it from these being shut. Weird, interesting. So 2 dead Wonder Clips out of that first batch. Oh, your stepdaughter has her grandmother's pedal machine. Oh, that's awesome. I do have an older machine than this that is like an old Singer. It's my husband's great-grandma's old Singer. That one's from 1927. That one used to be a treadle that got converted. Probably in the 30s. I think that's when that became popular, to take your old treadle machine, which is the like non-mechanical, or non-motorized, non-electrical, that's the word, machine, and that works with the pedal, the treadle machine, that's what that's called. This one got converted, so it got rid of the treadle and then put a motor on instead. So this has a motor, but I'd love to convert that back to a treadle machine at some point. All right, before we move on too far, I'm going to grab the fancy scissors and I'm going to just trim off these little extra bits now. I don't need those extras. They're going to get in our way here soon. All right, so now we got to decide what side I want to ultimately sew this onto, and I'll show you what I mean. In a moment here. Okay. These little guys get tossed aside. Okay. So, great. We have our first row. We have the back sashing and the front sashing sewn on. So what we would normally do, like what we did for all the middle pieces, is we flipped the front over, but left the back kind of out of the way, folded backwards, and then we sewed the second row to this side here. Let's see if I can imitate that. So, pretend that these rows are sewn together now. So this would be tucked under like that. And then on the back, and I can show you with this, on the back we would have to, hold on. So this is what the back would look like. We'd have this raw edge, the 2 raw edges. Like it'd be connected from sewing the front sashing on, but then the 2 raw edges we need to cover up with this back flat. So I would fold this over and press it and then tuck under the edge. So we got a nice edge there, and then I would hand stitch this all together. That's what we've done for all these other ones. what I'd like to do instead today is machine sew this. So I have to decide. So, but okay, if I machine sew, like I'll get really close to the edge here, but there will always be like a tiny little edge, and you'll be able to see my you'll be able to see the stitch line. It's not going to be all hidden. You know, like I can see this really well. It's going to look like this. It's not going to be hidden by, you know, folding the fabric over in the end. So it's going to be pretty visible. So a way to get around that would be just sewing it to the front again. So the front would look like this, would be all good to go. And then we'd have to like fold the back over and like pin everything in place, but we'd have to pin it so that there's enough flap over the edge. So that when we are on the front, we can stitch in the ditch, which just means stitch along the seam, so it'll be kind of hidden. Or we can sew it to the back first, flip it, and then fold the front edge over really nice. And we'd have to use pins, I think. We'd have to pin it in place. And then I'd sew along the edge, and you'd see the line, and there'd be like a tiny little flap. I don't know. I kind of don't know which way to go on this. So in the first way, where I sew onto the front and I stitch in the ditch, then it'll be visible on the back a lot, but I kind of don't care on the back. I think maybe let's do it that way. Let's give it a go, the stitch in the ditch way, where I keep sewing it to the front first, and then we fold this back flap over, and I'm going to have to like just barely tuck this under. I may have to go back and like tack. If I mess it up, I might have to tack little areas down, but I think let's give that way a go. Katie's asking, why don't I just sew by hand again? So why don't I just like hand stitch it like what I was doing? Just to try something else. I think we had talked about that last time we worked on this. Can you machine sew it? And I guess time constraints too, since this baby's coming in. This would be nice to get done. Although this is still going to take a ton of prep. Like it's still going to take pressing and pinning and all that. So it's still going to take a long time. Gosh, do you think it'll take the same amount of time to hand stitch and machine stitch? I don't know. We'll try it on the first one, and then we can decide later. So that's kind of what I just wanted to give it a go. Basically, I knew there was a way. Like I knew you could do it with the machine, sort of. This particular style of Quilt As You Go, and I thought we'd just give it a try. So this will be an experiment. How about that? All right, let's. So in that case, so to recap, the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to press the front side over. So we'll press this really well, and then we'll sew. We'll have to clip and sew and whatever the second row to it. So that'll take some time because we're going to want to line up these rows really well, or as best as we can. So that'll take some time, clipping and all that. And then we'll go to the back once it's sewn together. We'll press this edge over really well, and then we'll have to press it over again and pin the heck out of it all the way down. And I'm probably going to try and do more like an 1/8 inch flip over than a full 1/4 inch, or we're just going to have to really, I don't know, get it good. And then press that down. And then we'll come back to the front and stitch along our seam edge. And hope that we've caught all of our back edges. And if not, I'll have to, like I said, go back and tack down with some hand stitching. But I think it's worth a try. And then we can decide on the next row if we want to do it this way or not. And we got a little while to get that far anyway, because I gotta sew and cut a bunch more strips here. So in that case, I might just move on to finishing. We got those two other rows that don't have the hand stitching done. So I might just like, we might do this row and then like attach these 2 rows and then just hand stitch for the rest of the time here and then see where we're at. And that way I can kind of show you the other way, the non-sewing machine way too. That'd be good to get those done. And then we can do a whole session of cutting piles more of these strips because we need, how many more do we need? So this is the 1 strip that we're doing now, the sashing strip, and then we got 1, 2, 3, 4 more, not including whatever we do around the edge for a binding, for the binding. I don't think we haven't planned for a binding yet on this one. Yeah, so there'll be that too. Oh, you could use a glue stick to the back down. Yeah, we could do that instead of, I wonder how well that would work compared to pinning, or if we should do both. I think I have a glue stick somewhere around here. I'll have to see. But yeah, that's a good point. That might be the way to do it, with a glue stick. Yeah, I think we're gonna try that, Sharon. Okay. Oh, and Paula says hard to stitch over pins you can't see. Ugh. That's true. Okay, we'll have to figure that part out. Yeah, that's true. We're gonna have to like lift it up while we sew just to like keep an eye on it or something. Yeah, we'll do glue. Let's see, what do I got going on here for glue? We got something. There's, I actually do have like some sticky stuff, like for shirt seams. I think I took that shirt making class once, and we had to fold a seam over, and we used some sticky stuff. That would probably work too. But I think I have a project sitting over here that has some glue, and I'll get that out. But first of all, let's work on pressing this and sewing that other row on. Let's see, what's the best way of doing this? Maybe like so. All right. I'm gonna just try and really get this over. Okay, and I'm just gonna have to keep scooching this along. Yeah, the tiny glue dots. I don't think I have like the liquid Elmer's glue. I think I just have like a little bit of some glue stick. But I think, yeah, you're right. We could glue and press. That would probably do the job. I do have like a glue stick, which hopefully isn't completely dead. Yeah, I'm just looking. Man, I should have some glue on hand though. I'll have to get like next time I'm at Target or something, I'll have to get an Elmer's glue. I know you can buy those like little thin, like needle points, or like syringe points almost for that glue. I'm thinking I might have to find one of those online somewhere too, and then do get some Elmer's, some liquid glue, and stick that on the top. Maybe I just need to convert to the whole glue realm. I stayed away from that for so long because I'm like, oh my god, putting glue on fabric. I don't know about that, but it makes things so easy, like for English paper piecing, and I know a lot of people use it for putting their binding on even before they sew, and just like this sort of stuff before sewing, and they all like swear by it. So you know what? I should just convert probably, huh? But yeah, that little like syringe spout thing I think would be really helpful for that process. All right, so the first side I got some pressed over. So again, the front I've pressed over, the back I have left in place. So that is still this way, out of our way. That's what we want right now. We want it out of our hair. Okay, and now we're going to line up the next row with this row. You can see this is a little wobbly. I mean, these aren't the best pieces of fabric. This is kind of scrap fabric. that actually never got produced. They were strike-offs from a collection, which is just like practice fabric from the manufacturer, basically. All right, so what I want to do now is, instead of getting that center middle point, what I want to do instead is really match up these rows with the rows of the next piece, so that it appears like we got one continuous line. I don't want it to like stair step here. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be my lining up goal in this case. So let's make sure we got it in order. So ABC's on top. Then, yep, the D, E, F, G, H row is underneath. Should I? I think I'm not gonna. I'm gonna wait to get rid of my little edges here till we're done too. So what I'm gonna do is put them right sides together. So I need to line up this edge with the edge of our sashing piece, but I also, you can see like right here, I folded this back. This sashing, I want to line up with this sashing as well. So right now it's not. I'm just gonna scooch it over. So that's how I'm thinking I'm gonna get these rows to line up, is just like making sure that they're in line here. And then I'm gonna bring this to the edge here. I think, which side should we sew on? This side or this? I think this side. Okay, so I'm gonna, clips, where'd you go? I do like that it has a magnet at the bottom. I think these are from IKEA, these containers. So it just sticks to my machine there. All right, so I'm gonna line up our edges here. That seems pretty good. Double check. Yep, we seem pretty in line. I think this is an okay way of going about this as far as lining things up. All right, let's do this one over here. And then I'll put some more in the middle here, but I want to get these guys lined up first. Edge. All right, that looks good. Yeah, I think I have, we had to clean the car out because we've been to Menards and Home Depot so many times with this upstairs remodel that we're like in the middle of yet. So we had to empty the car, and in the car I had an emergency craft project, and it's just kind of sitting here out of the way. That emergency craft project, I'll show you guys what that is. I haven't worked on that in years, probably. But you never know. If the car breaks down, you might need an emergency craft project in the car. But that has a glue stick in, and I'm hoping that glue stick works yet, because that's what I'm hoping to use here. But yeah, I think glue, that sounds like a good solution. And then we'll just have to keep our eye on it. I don't know. I haven't done that before, so it'll be kind of an interesting experiment. That's what I like about doing projects here, is just every new project is a chance to like test something out, test out an idea or a technique that I haven't done before. Come on, get over there, match up. All right, I think that's pretty good. Oop. And oop. All right, now let's match up the rest. And so now if I unfold this, which doesn't want to do. There we go. So our rows theoretically should match up nicely. A little awkward here. We'll see when we're done. All right, so let's match up the end, because again, the ends should be perfectly aligned since we cut our sashing piece really well, theoretically. And let's stick, I think we just need like one more in there. Oh, Joseph is saying, sew the back sashing together, then stitch the top from the front. Yeah, that's how I was gonna originally do it. But I kind of wanted to try this way. Like, I've seen them both done before, and doing it that way, I'd be able to like see my little seam. And I want to try to do it this way, where I stitch in the ditch just right along the seam, so it's sort of invisible, and then just kind of catch the back. I don't know. I don't know if this is a good idea. This might end up being a disaster, but at worst, at worst, all I'll have to do on the back is tack down a few pieces and it'll be the back. And you guys have generously basically bought this quilt for me. So I don't feel as bad if it's like super weird. So originally we were going to sell this quilt and to the highest bidder basically, and then donate the sale, the money from that. I'm adding another clip in this. This one feels like it needs it. But donating the money from that sale and the sale from the patterns and stuff too to the Minneapolis Crisis Nursery. But then we found out that baby was coming, and Jenna, who works with me, talked to you guys about potentially me and John being able to keep the blankie for a new baby. So instead of selling it, to donate that money to the Minneapolis Crisis Nursery, which is fitting with baby as well. You guys have donated a whole bunch of, I think we're like around $700 or so now. We'll have to check it again. But you guys have donated money to the cause instead, so we'll be donating that. And then you're basically gifting this to John and me, so we appreciate it a ton. John was upset when, as we've been working on this past year, because it's just turning out so cute and stuff, and he was upset that oh, you're just giving it away. He wanted to keep it, so now he gets to, and for baby, and so we are so thankful to you guys for doing all those donations, and we're excited to keep this quilt and have it in the nursery and stuff when that gets done. But yeah, so if the back is a little wonky, well, it's a learning thing for me to have tried it, and no one's gonna see it but us. All right, I think this last one I can just get one in here right at the seam. Boop. All right. All right, we can sew this. Let's scoot you out of the way. You're heavy. Okay. Oh yeah. Well, I'm like, why am I hesitating? Because I'm thinking about that glue. But I'm ahead of myself. Let's sew this, and then I'll get that glue out. We'll figure that out. All right. So along the edge here, let me scooch over, and let's do it. Oh, hello. I haven't. It's hard. Ooh, that's kind of popping out. Ooh, I'm gonna have to clip that way more. Okay, let's try that again. I can't see my TikTok comments very well, so I see you over there, Robin. Nice to see you. Let's get a few more clips. I wonder if I should flip this around and sew, but I don't want to. Big on the bottom though. So the looser bit you want to put on the bottom. Amy's asking if we've narrowed down names yet. Not really. We need to have a sit down and just hammer it out, I think. Okay, I'm gonna get this end here where it is, because since it was so bloopy at the beginning, I'm gonna just add a few more clips here. So, I don't know, we have some, maybe we'll have to think about that tonight. So this is like our first little bit of time that we've had kind of alone here for a few days. So we're gonna have to go through all of that stuff, I think, because it's getting close now. We gotta make some decisions. But nope, we have no definitive names yet. It'd be nice to have like a few to go in there with. All right, I'm gonna again add a little back tack here. Normally I don't do this, but like these are such long rows and I don't want these to fall apart. I don't think I did it on both sides last time. I think I forgot, but We'll get it now. Yeah, we're doing this right. Felt funny for a sec for me. So we'll press this open so we can see both rows when we're done here with this seam. And then it's going to be the tricky bit of pressing that back piece over and then like pressing again and gluing. And on top of that, having it be in just the right spot so that when we sew on the front again, that it'll catch that little folded over edge. And that might be it might be a little disaster at that point, but we'll see. It might be lovely. It might have worked out perfect. But from the front, at least, hopefully it won't be that visible of a seam because we'll be stitching in the ditch, which means stitching right in the seam. So I'm hoping that hides the seam line. What we could really do is change our thread color to match this a little bit more too, but we're not doing that. I gotta trim these extra little bloops off too. Okay, we're still lined up. Feels good to sew these rows together. I'm happy that we had enough pre-done sashing. Ooh, this isn't quite lined up. I think we'll be fine. I'm happy we had enough sashing prep that we could just cut it and start sewing, because we're gonna have to do a lot of prepping for the rest of the sashing. And now we can kind of figure out how much we actually need to, God, we really do need a lot. So it'll be a lot of cutting and making sashing for the rest of the quilt. But I'm glad we got at least one bit done. So I think the goal again for today is I'd love to finish this first row, the bit that we have sashing for, and then skip back to the last two rows that we didn't finish hand stitching this, and then do the hand stitching. We'll jump back to hand stitching, and that's a lot of hand stitching, like 2 full rows, but we'll see how we feel, how it goes. We could always try machine doing one too, but this is kind of my machine stitching for the day, I'm thinking. And then I think some other time we'll come back and cut all the rest of that sashing, or maybe I can just pop on sometime and do that quick. That's kind of boring to watch, maybe, all that cutting. But it's fun to chit chat. All right, let's get this leader, the other side of that in there. Okay. Trim these little guys off. Okay, let's get all of these put away right away so they don't fall all over the floor. Okay, and then I'm going to trim these edges quick as well. Ooh, you guys, I yesterday started to put together a little like Amazon shop. In the TikTok, there's a link to it in our link pop thing. Can't remember if it's amazon.com/shop/penguinfish, like no and in there, just penguinfish. It's either shop/penguinfish or it's store/penguinfish. I think it's shop. But anyway, I just started to put stuff in there, but I put like my 5 favorite things in. So it's got the scissors, and the wireless or the cordless iron, and a few other things going on in there. So I'm hoping to add more things to that for like different crafts, you know, like yarn stuff and like the needle felting and all those different things at some point in there. But anyway, just if you want to check that out, something I got going. Ooh, I just dropped all of my leaders and enders on the floor. I just wanted to peek. So it does look like this lined up pretty well. Let's just check the other one. So this is what we were kind of like lining up this row with this row. And this was kind of fun. It looks like this, it just happened to be two of these stripes. So it almost looks like this stripe went underneath this row to here, which is kind of cool. I like how that turned out. This one's maybe not quite as matched up, but it's close enough. Yeah, that one looks good. And yeah, that one too. So I think we did a good job at making it look like we lined up this row with this row. It's not like jogging over like that at all. So great, that's awesome. This is looking so cute. So yeah, so see, this long one mimics the sashing of these short rows pretty well. I like how that turned out. So we need to press this. I think I'm gonna press it from the back just so I can kind of pull it a little bit and like get these two raw edges to kind of like lay next to each other really well. And then I can press this piece over. And then we need to get the glue out. At that point, we need to like tuck this under and glue. But the nice thing is we have a guide for us. So we do have our seam line from sewing the sashing on, so I can see that. So as long as when I'm gluing it, I'm just covering that, because I'm going to sew in that same line. So I should be able to, if I tuck this under, it should be able to grab like right there. That's the plan, but let's press. Get the iron back going. All right, get this guy out. Yeah, I'm gonna just kind of stretch it apart a little bit, give it a little press. Okay, while that's heating up, I'm gonna just grab that glue. Hold on here. All right, here's that project. I'll show you guys this. So I picked up my leaders and enders from the floor too. Okay, this is my emergency craft project from the car. I'm stealing the glue out of it. Oh, here we go. Gosh, can I even open this? Ooh, I think, oh good, that'll work. Yeah, so this is my kind of washable glue. Non-toxic, washable, acid-free. But here's like the project. It is a paper piecing project, an English paper piecing project where you just hand stitch all these pieces together, and it's gonna, obviously I don't have two pieces in here yet, but theoretically it's a bunch of little stars like this. I have scrap fabric. This is from clothing and stuff too. And then it looks like in here, oh yeah, I have a whole pile of pieces all ready to go. Oh hey, this is a really nice, I got a needle on there and everything, and like this is a nice color. I should have this out and use it for other stuff, but oh well. Oh, and then I have some pieces like pre-cut of the papers. Wow, I have a whole pile of pieces just kind of ready to sew together here. So this is my emergency craft project. Got a scissors in here, got a little bag for trash. Definitely all like the bits that I like having on like a travel emergency craft project right there. But yeah, I think this is the only one I have so far. And he's got a long way to go. But it's cute. Look how cute like a whole quilt of this would be. But anyway, so this is emergency craft project. It just happened to be sitting here because we were cleaning out our car because we were back and forth to Menards all the time and couldn't have the extra stuff in there. Oh, actually it's because we had to get our car fixed. So we got everything out of the car, but it had this in there. So I want to make sure to put this back. I think I must have some other glue stick around. I'm gonna have to like just buy a glue stick and that, you know, just the normal like wet glue to have around here. Ooh, ouch. Anywho, there, we're set up with the glue. so I'm just going to press these seams. Should probably press from the front first, but I'm gonna just skip into the back here. I'm just trying to kind of match up these raw edges so they just lay a little nicer. Kind of coax them in place a little bit. And then I'll come back and we'll fold over that edge. Or fold over the back sashing, basically. And get that situated, and then it's the glue and fold time. That's the part that I haven't done really, and that I'm a little nervous about. Oh, I didn't think about lining up these back pieces too. We didn't really need to because it's not like I can move those separate from the front, but like these back strips should match too. Yeah, this is kind of getting rid of some ripples and stuff by just giving this a nice press. Kind of a big job sewing these rows together like this. Oh, bye Nora. Thanks for stopping in. But compared to having to quilt this whole thing as a big giant piece, I'm really kind of liking this process. Like, it was so fun to sew or to quilt all these small little pieces individually. It gave me the opportunity to just practice a bunch of designs and just get creative and play around a little bit more versus like struggling to quilt a whole quilt with my little sewing machine here. So I'm still liking the Quilt As You Go process. I've never completed anything with the Quilt As You Go process yet. The other project we're working on using that process is the Splendid Sampler 2, and I'm not done with that yet. I think we've put some rows together on that like this, but I'm not sure. This feels all kind of newish. All right, there we go. I think I'm gonna start from the top again. So, all right, I'm gonna pull this back up and then we'll fold that flap over. Actually, I think I might rotate because it'll be easier for me to press it the other way, I think. There we go. Yeah, it'll be easier for me to press that way. And then I'll probably have to rotate around again to get that fold. But all right. I want to press this over, and I really want to get it over well, so I'm kind of digging into that seam. This is our first fold. Here's our practice piece. We added that to the back of the quilt. So all the parts of the quilt are all the parts that we were putzing around on are in the quilt. So it looks like my seams didn't all stay open when I sewed that first bit, but oh well. Might make it a little difficult to fold over, but we'll see. We'll do our best. Oh, Michelle says, she said this earlier, but I'm just reading it now. For both of our daughters, we had 2 names for each sex. As soon as they were born, we knew right away what we liked. So that's why I want to come up with like a couple. We know it's a girl, so we don't have to worry about girl names. So that's positive. But yeah. Ugh. So yeah, I'd like to, even if we end up with like one that we really like, I'd like to have like some spares on hand. I don't know. Like I said, we need a chit chat about that yet. Ugh, okay. So much pressing big floppy fabric pieces here. Not my favorite thing to do. But we're getting it. home stretch of this row now. We've been here an hour and a half already. So it's taking time. It's taking time doing these rows, but you know, we're getting there. And this is the first one. We're experimenting. So at this point, I could either hand stitch it or machine sew as we were going. So this is how far I got with all of these other sashing pieces before deciding, you know, that these are hand stitched. So I could do that now too after I fold over this edge, but we're gonna try this whole gluing deal. I think we're gonna start from the top again. I think I'm gonna go sideways. Just trying to figure out what's most comfortable for me. All right, let's scooch some of this stuff out of the way. I'm gonna make a mess here, I think. All right, let's go sideways here. Scooch things. All right. So here's the tricky bit. I am going to fold over the edge just a hair, just like that, like theoretically a 1/4 of an inch, but I'm going to be a little shy of that, so more like an 1/8 of an inch. I think I'm going to press it first, and then I'm going to like lift it up again and add a little dab of glue and press it again. So my goal here is this seam right here. You can kind of see this is like the seam from sewing this front on. It's like one long line that I can see all the way along the edge here. That's going to be my guide, because ultimately I'm going to be stitching in the ditch, which is sewing into the seam on the front, which should match up exactly with that seam on the back from prior. So what I want to do is fold this edge over so it's just bigger than that seam, so that when I sew that seam, I'm catching the edge of this and catching like the fold. Like I don't want it to pop out either. So it's gonna be a little tricky dance here, I think, of me just kind of like folding, kind of getting into position, and then pressing. Let's just give it a try, just to get it going. Actually, maybe I can keep folding and doing this a little bit, and then I'm going to go back and add the glue to it, because I'm not going to use pins. I think you're right, pinning. Ooh, I'm kind of stretching it as I go though too. I don't want to do that. So we'll do this little area, and then maybe I'll do this area, and then we'll kind of meet in the middle, because I don't want to pull and stretch this funny either. So let's just do this whole area first. I'm going to start here and go backwards a little bit, and then we'll come back and glue. That sounds logical. All right, let's get right like that. I think we're pretty good. All right, let's add some tacks of glue. So this should hold theoretically pretty well, and it'll wash out later. And this is what I haven't really done before. I've used the glue for like English paper piecing and little projects like that, but I haven't used it in like a binding, you know, sashing sort of technique like this. I know a lot of people do this a lot and swear by it, so we're gonna test that out. I'm just trying to dab some glue on the edge here. Tuck it back under, and then we'll press it again, which will kind of keep it in place. Oh, just roll the stick down and then press. Okay, I'll do that for the next bit, Sharon. I think you're right. I think that's a good idea. Kind of really end here. Ooh, under some more. Yeah, I can just get the front and then press a little. You're right. All right, let's give that a try. I don't know. Gotta make sure that I'm over that seam line. but not too far over. Ugh, this just like, I hope this stays. This just like freaks me out a little bit. All right, let's move on to the next chunk. All right. We're gonna try and be delicate here. Yeah, this will be interesting. We'll give it a go. Okay, so this time I think, yeah, let's just plop some glue on here and along the edge here, see if I can fold it fast enough. If not, I'll put some more on. Yeah, let's just see how that goes. Start here. Got in the middle here. Okay. All right, now let's hit it coming back. It'd be easier with sashing that I didn't sew together, like didn't piece together. So I'm trying to lift up and press the next part versus dragging, because that'll stretch it out a little bit, and I'm trying to avoid that. So far, so good. We're just gonna have to keep an eye on this as we sew. A little wobbly, but I think we're fine. I think we're gonna live with that. I got 3 more sections to do. Ugh, and I think I'm gonna move my leader and enders. I want this to just go straight off the table. I don't want it to bend. We did all that gluing. I think I'm gonna do a segment and then we'll do the next segment. That little bit. It's kind of a lot, but that's fine. It's water soluble. First little bend. There we go. I might get this glue on my sewing or my iron a little bit. My iron needs to be cleaned though. I looked at it today. I'm like, where'd all this gunk come from? Yeah, we're doing it in halvesies. So it's time to like see. I got like all this kind of like brown on the front here. Actually, I think I know what it's from. I think it's from using the Steam-A-Seam 2 that we could have used for this, really. That like little applique stuff. Ugh. Okay, so this part right there, I feel like needs some glue. Boop. Ugh, we're just gonna get picky now. It's all kind of coming up, but I don't know. If we can stay down long enough, then we're fine. All right, we're halfway. Let's get this other half of this loop. I'm not really getting the edge here. That liquid glue would have definitely worked better here, I think. But this is see-through or clear. I think we're fine. There. Okay, I think that's pretty decent. Yeah. There, just rest it on there. The thing is, we would have to kind of do something like this anyway. So, I mean, I guess if we hand stitch this, we could skip this part a little bit, but I think I'd still want to like tack it down in certain areas so I'm not stretching, like I said, across the piece, like on such a long piece like this. So even if we just did this through hand stitching, I think I'd want to tack it down a little bit, but I don't know, maybe not with glue, I don't know. Other rows we could always do by hand if we wanted to, but I like this idea still. I wanted to give this a try. I hadn't tried it by machine before. Actually, I think we did do it a few times with the Splendid Sampler 2 machine stitch the sashing down, but I think I did it where I had that bit of a flap on the front. So not like this. So this way, the flap, the little extra like mini flap will be on the back and we'll have stitched in the ditch really nice on the front. We'll just see. All right, 1.5 more little segments and we'll carefully try and flip this guy around. This is going pretty quick though. Now that I'm going with it, getting the edge. But yeah, we'll give it a sew and see what happens. And then, then any bits that are crazy, like came out or I missed sewing, which I'm sure there'll be some. Hopefully not, but maybe. Right here, covering that. Those we'll hand tack down. We'll go over the whole piece and see what needs to be hand tacked. And then we'll switch over to some hand stitching for a little while, I think yet. Okay, last segment here. Little seam here. Those are a little tricky. First, definitely getting glue all over my fingers. Okay, and the last little bit. It's going pretty well. I think I will start sewing from this side, but from the front, so we'll see how that goes. The last segment here. Okay, let's get the cap on. Ooh, needs to cover up that line. Tight over here. Okay, I think we are ready. All right, I guess let's try it out. Oh gosh, right at the end here though, it doesn't seem. No. I guess it'll be fine. I'm just gonna put another little dab right at the end there. Ooh, this is gonna be tricky, but let's do it. All right, going to the machine. Moving stuff out of the way a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna flip this up. Maybe go like this. Yeah, and then we're gonna sew in the ditch here. So I want to scooch this all. Kind of like lay it kind of flat. Okay, let's try. I'm kind of doing this blindly, so we'll see. Get in the right side. Yeah, this bottom side. So I'm stitching right in the seam for this. Ooh, in there. There we go. I'm going to back tack as well. So by stitching right in the seam, that's called stitching in the ditch, I should, this should be not invisible because it is still orange, but we're just like kind of riding the edge a little bit. And so this should be catching our fabric in the back. So we'll see how we did. I'm trying real careful to stay right in that seam line. I'm just trying to keep everything that we glued kind of flat. I'm just kind of holding it back a little bit. Just trying to sew straight. All right, getting a little attached over here. Just a little bit. And then we'll peek when we're done. I'm not gonna peek now. I don't want to mess up where I'm sewing. I don't know if this works though. Like, this is kind of slick. Like, I can barely see my sew line at all. I mean, maybe against this purple I'll be able to, but I'm sure once you do this a few times, I'm sure you get good at it. All this gluing and all that. And theoretically, I could have started with a wider sashing strip for the back if I knew that this was the plan. But I kind of like them the same size sashing strips. It's been kind of easy to think about. All right, we're over halfway. I'm still kind of like holding the back up a little bit with my other hand just so it's flat by the time it gets to here, to the needle. I think it's going okay. We'll take a look at the front first, and then we'll flip it over to the back and see how we did. This is our last segment, though. On this orange, I can maybe err on the side a little towards the orange, outside of the ditch, just because thread matches. But all right, I'm gonna add a little back tack just because it makes me nervous. And all right, we'll go forward, and let's get another leader in here. All right, let's see how we did. That sewing actually didn't take very long. Okay, so here's what it looks like from the front. Looking good so far. So you can see the seam. So if I get real close here, you can see that seam, but we are in the ditch, which makes it kind of hidden, especially since we have all this other quilting going on. So it's pretty dang subtle. And again, I could have picked a more matching color if I really, really wanted to go at it. But we've just been using this orange, and I think that's fine. So I don't know, it looks pretty dang good from the front, I would say. Okay, now let's flip it over to the back. That's what I'm nervous about. So did we catch all those folds? All right, so here's where we're at. So this is what I'm talking about. So we got like a tiny flap here, but we did catch it. So that's the goal. So I wonder if some of these are too far in that it'll come out, but like, I don't know, it's looking good so far. That this is what you know, so it's visible on the back. So this is what we had to decide earlier. Like, did we want this on the front or on the back? And I think it's looking just fine on the back. And I don't know, it's looking like it's working pretty well so far. It doesn't look like any of it's too far. It looks like we caught it all so far, and none of it's too far out that the underneath part of the flap is gonna pop out. Yeah, we're right on the edge there. I think we got the whole edge. Yeah, that's fine there. All right, and what about right here? Yep, we still caught that inner edge. So dang, I think we did it. I don't think we have to tack any of this down. All right, so awesome. So that's the machine version of doing it. So again, with the machine version, you do get that tiny little flap, and you do see the seam compared to the hand stitched one, where I mean you do still see like your little tack downs, like your little stitches. So it's 6 of one, half a dozen the other, I suppose. I like saying that phrase. I always have to point. I gotta point out donuts whenever I do it. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. So I remember how to do it. But yeah, so I think that turned out pretty dang sweet for a little bit of gluing and pressing that didn't take all that long. I don't know, we got 2 rows together, you guys. And this is still soft and everything, and the glue will still wash out, so I'm not worried about that at all. But dang, we got row 1 and row 2 together here, so I am very happy with that for today. We definitely need to make a pile more sashing because we are basically out at this point. And this took, for the front and back sashing for just 1 row, it took, 85 inches worth of sashing? So we got a whole pile of cutting. So let's just do the math on that quick. I'm really happy with that turnout. That worked out better than I expected. So hopefully the next rows do that too. So this guy's done. That's what we just did here. And then we got 1, 2, 3, 4 more. So this ended up being for the front. So 2 pieces, like, the front and the back sashing. Each of those were 42.5 inches. So if we double that, that's 85 inches for a front and the back. And then we need that 1, 2, 3, 4 more times. So 4 is 20, 32, 33, 34. So 340 inches of sashing we still need. So I'm going to write sashing still need. Hooey, man. So that's a lot of cutting 1-inch strips for this. So I'm going to have to just chill one whole afternoon probably and just cut a whole pile of sashing strips and then just start cutting them to this 42. I'll probably just cut them to the 42.5 inches as I go. And then I need 8. I need, I like writing these notes to myself here. I need 8 42.5 inch strips by 1 inch. So that's what I ultimately need, which is 340 inches. All right, that's math for you, but yeah, that's a whole pile of fabric to cut yet. But yeah, so I'll probably just cut and sew them together, and once I get to that 42.5 inches, just cut it perfectly until I have all those 8, and then we can just go at all of these rows and get this guy done. We still have a binding, so we'll have to do more, because I'll probably match the binding to this sashing. I'll probably just keep using up the fabric, so I can show you guys what I mean by that. So let's see. Ooh, here is my second bin for this project. So here's our sashing that we had left from today, from the 2 pieces that we cut today. So we can just keep adding to this for our 42.5 inches. But in here is all the scrap fabric from this project. Ooh, actually it's just all this stuff on top. But we should have enough. I think I have actual yardage of some. So all of this is just old Penguin and Fish strike-off fabric. So this is from our first fabric collection that we did years and years ago. And what strike-offs are in the manufacturing of fabric process is they just give you, here's just a little piece. The fabric manufacturer will give you a small piece of fabric to check over everything. So you'll check to see if the colors are correct, to see if everything's in the right spot, and then you check it off and yep, that's good to go, or nope, here's the changes, and then they print the real thing. So strike-offs are like actual like fabric that they make in like short little runs. Like they're not perfect. Like, you know, you can see this is like all blended together here. So that's something we probably would have told them. And the second run is better because it's done with a different process. This is just probably all done by hand for the strike-offs, just to see if it's correct before it's done with the machine. But anyway, so I have a bunch of those pieces, and that's what we've been making all of these strips out of, just all this excess fabric from a bajillion years ago. It's awesome to get it into this piece, though, because, you know, a lot of animals are similar. But yeah, so all of this we will cut up into our 1-inch strips and make our 340 more inches that we need. Whew. It's going to be one of those things, though, that it probably will look like we barely use any of this up. I feel like that's always the case with this fabric stuff. Like, oh, I'm going to use up this whole bin of fabric for this quilt, and then it doesn't look like you hardly use any of it. That seems like the standard. So, all right, so I'm going to just set this aside, and I think we can do some hand stitching for a little while yet. Let's see. Let's just kind of pull this up. I do have a little clip here. I don't know if you guys noticed, because this is hand stitched. I feel like I got a little close to the edge here, and so I'm scared it's going to unravel on me. So I'm just kind of holding that hand stitch bit in place until we sew the next row on. Maybe I should have sewn row 2 to 3 first so I could get rid of that. But I am so happy with how this turned out. That stitching in the ditch, you can barely tell that. I think that worked out great. But, you know, we'll go back to hand stitching now for little side bits just because. All right, you can hang out here. Let's regroup. I need my other bin. Here's the other bin for this project that has the in-progress stuff. So I think, let's see, the S and T are the ones that we need yet. So this guy's, actually, should we check? Did we check all these? I don't remember. Yeah, all of these sashing pieces are sewn. Okay, so that guy's good. Just double checking. Yep, we are good on the hand sewing there, and I think it's these last two. Yep, so these ones these ones still have the flap. Okay, let's get this guy out. And I think this guy too is unfinished. Ugh, we're gonna have to decide on the quilt label yet for this too. Actually, that'd be great if you guys have any idea on what we should do. Let's take these out. I'll show you guys the quilt label. So this is gonna actually be the last block in the XYZ row. See, I don't have a block here. Like here's the corner on the other side. I need that over here. But what we're gonna do is, you know, it's gonna be one of these guys here. But on the back, you know, then the batting. But on the back, I want the actual quilt label. So here are my quilt labels. So we'll have to pick one of these. And then I'll have to figure out what to put on it. So if you guys want to, in like the Penguin and Fish Crafters group, maybe we'll make a post tomorrow or something, and then you can write underneath the post like what we should write in one of these quilt labels. And maybe we'll even show them, and then you can like vote on which one we should do. So we got this little kind of cute decorative scrolly thing, and oh man, we should probably embroider them too, shouldn't we? Yep, Jean, these are our quilt labels. It's our little like quilt label, stitchable quilt label pack. I've done one before. Oh, let me show you guys that one. So here's another unfinished project yet. So here's the granny square quilt. I have the label's done, the label's stitched how I want it, but I have to finish this. You know, we said that we were gonna finish it October 28th. So we're a little behind on getting that on. So this is another project I wanna get done here at some point. But anyway, so that's an example. So we got like this little scrolly, cute pattern. There's that heart, like the granny square quilt one. So I don't know if you guys can tell that. So we should probably embroider one of these too then, huh? Here's just like a square decorative like edge, little like a ferny edge, and then we got like this sewing not sewing machine, but like little sewing related one with our little stork scissors on there and a little spool of thread. That might be kind of nice for this one. I don't know. Anyway, so maybe we'll do a little. We'll put together a little post to vote on which one of these we should use and what it should say on it. I think we should probably stitch it too. We should embroider one of these guys up, I think. Be sad to just leave it unembroidered. So that's part of this project. Yeah, to see, we're just making this project bigger and bigger, huh? So that will end up being the last panel, the last corner, and then here's our little guide to cut things. So I'm just gonna leave that in there. Anywho, we have these 2 rows to stitch yet, so we got time. We got a ways to go yet. I do not see how we'll get this done before baby comes, but we'll see. We only got 5 weeks now, you guys. Like, what the heck? There's our little fish with the little baby that we put on there. All right, let's close that up. That's freaking me out a little bit right now. I'll be sewing here with the baby on me instead. Trying to finish this up. Okay. Let me scooch forward here. Let's do some hand stitching. So I'm gonna actually cut my, just gonna like cut my, well, actually no. You know what? I'm gonna just steal from this bobbin. Because, I don't know, like I have the sewing machine all ready to go for like more of these, even though I'll need to cut and stuff forever, but I'm kind of motivated. So now I'm gonna just, let's steal from this bobbin instead. All right, so I need all my needles and stuff out. Let's grab that. Hold on. I need Zeb. All right, I need this feller. He's the holder of needles. Oops, hold on a sec here. All right. Okay, so let's get my favorite needle. I use this guy so much. So this is my, and here's little Zeb again. He's so cute, from Fish Museum and Circus. I love him. It's my little needle holder. All right, so this is my, I don't know, like size 11 Milner's or straw needle. It is totally bent from using it a ton, but I love how thin it is and how long it is, and sharp it is. It's perfect for this hand stitching. So I'm gonna get, oh, you know what? We did not press this either. Man, skipping all the steps. Let's move this to the side. I'm getting ahead of myself again. All right, scooch. Let's get the ironing board out. I gotta press these seams over. I think I'll actually just go one at a time. So let's press this over. And did I press it over again? I think I did do that before hand stitching. Yeah, I pinned it too. Fine. All right. We're doing all the things. Here we go. Here's my applique needles. Let's press this. Man, like I said, I haven't done this in a while. This is just feels different. Gosh, I'm tempted to just machine do all of these now, but we'll do some hand stitching. So this is like the same process at this point that we did with that long strip that we did earlier. You know, we're flipping over that back now. But the difference here is I'm going to hand stitch it. So I'm going to, you know, I could just glue this down too and hand stitch it, but we'll use our little applique pins. So I'm folding this, and now I'm going to fold it little by little here again. Again, like lining it up with that line, just like going just over the edge of that seam line that we can see from the front. I'm going to press, and then I'm going to stick it with an applique pen here too. I think I'm just gonna try and flip over and press as I go. So we can adjust this a little bit as we stitch. You guys, it has been so nice to be back here hanging out with everyone. So I'm happy, happy you all came again. Oh, yep, no, we don't have a baby name yet, Robin. So we need to sit down of that and just, like I told John, like we need to sit down and just like, we need to like write it out by hand and see how it feels and what it looks like. And then like, oops, shoot, have a couple on hand just in case it doesn't look like a whatever, you know? So we'll need some backups. All right, so now I'm just, let me get this scooched up a little closer to me so I can see. I'm gonna just tuck that edge over and let's throw a pin in there. So these little applique pins, which I actually kind of find a little bit annoying. I wish they were thinner and sharper. There we go. Good enough. So I'll be able to, like I said, adjust a little bit here and there as I go on this, as I stitch. And I'm gonna get one more in here. There we go. Okay, and I think I'm gonna zoom you guys in for this, so don't get seasick here. Let me snip a piece. So I'm gonna cut a piece of thread that's a bit longer than the distance I need to go, but not a ton. Yeah, I got like 24 inches or so here. Snip that. And then my needle, which I hope I put back in here. Oh gosh, I hope I didn't set that anywhere nearby me. Oh, I think this is it. This feels, this might be a little thicker one though. I'm freaked out though now. Oh, here it is. Okay. Phew, this is the thicker one. Okay. There we go. Found it. I was afraid I set it somewhere in my area. Okay, so I'm going to thread that needle. Oh, I still got glue all over my fingers. There we go. And I'm going to do a quilter's knot. And what that means is I just want a precise knot on the end here, because if I just try and tie a knot, it might be all over the place. So what I'm going to do is I'm bringing the end to my needle and kind of holding the end on my needle like this. I'm going to wrap around a few times, 3 or 4 times. And I'm going to hold all those loops in place. I could have just kept holding with that hand, but it's easier for me to pull through this. And then I'm holding those loops as I pull through. And where those loops are will be where my little knot is. So that's called a quilter's knot. And all right, I'm going to zoom you guys in just so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better here for hand stitching. And yeah, I think we'll hand stitch this one. I don't know how many of these we'll do today. Getting a little tired. We've been here 1 to 2 to 3. We've been here 2 hours. That's kind of fun. I like doing these longer sessions, just hanging out here. Oh, and Jenna says that, she says, hey everyone, I just posted a poll in the Penguin and Fish Crafters group on Facebook to vote for your favorite quilt label for the ABC quilt. Awesome. So vote for your favorite quilt label in that poll, and then like right in there too. I'm gonna zoom in now. So don't get seasick. Right in there. Oh, I think that's all the closer I can get. But also write in what you think in the comments area. What you think I should write. What should the label say? I always have trouble with that. All right, let's get at this. So I'm starting. So how I like holding this, I like kind of just folding this over, so I can like hold it like this, because I don't know, like this, I have nothing to grab onto. So when I'm doing this hand stitching, I just fold it over like so. I'm never gonna go all the way through all this fabric, so I'm not worried about accidentally catching that or something. So, all right, I'm going to, almost lost my needle already. I'm holding that folded edge over, and I'm gonna just kind of come up from the side, and I'm coming up like kind of in the middle of my fabric here to this one folded over edge of the sashing. I'm gonna come up there. My quilter's knot kind of holds it in place. Oops, and I'm gonna go around that spot like one more time from the front. I'm sort of in the same spot. I didn't do that very well, but all right, so kind of like one little loop around the edge there. I'm trying to think, does this feel weird or not? I don't think so. I think I'm doing this how I think I'm trying to remember, like, do I come up this side or do I come up this side? But anyway, I think we're good. So I'm gonna actually do this one more time. And we're gonna try that knicker knot to kind of hold it in place a little bit. So I'm gonna bring the threads on my needle like around the front of the needle, and then the part that's coming out of the fabric around, and then pull the needle through, and then we should get like a kind of like a little figure 8 sort of knot going. And that just is kind of like a little extra sturdy knot at the end. This is gonna be sewn into the quilt, so not too worried about anything happening. But all right, now to start the stitching, I'm gonna go into the back. Like into the back, what I mean is like this fabric here, right along the edge of the sashing, but just in the back. And then I'm gonna go kind of right to left. I'm gonna come up into the sashing, like a stitch length away, like 1/8 of an inch or so. And pull through. That's gonna be my first stitch. All these little extra threads are in my way. All right, and then I'm gonna go directly across from where I'm at, just into the back fabric again. So the same spot basically, but only into the back fabric. And then go sideways again, and then come up in both the back fabric and the sashing. And that's our little stitches. Get out of the way from that side. And we're just gonna go along the edge. The sashing is a little stiff right here because that's where my seam is. Sewing 2 little stashing bits together. All right, and you can start to see I got like a couple little baby stitches there. Oh, Katie. Oh my gosh, Katie. I kept reading your comment over double meaning with the stork, and it just occurred to me while you're talking about it. I get it. So what Katie's saying, and I kind of like that. So the sewing quilt label has the stork scissors on it, and the double meaning with the stork bringing the baby. I can't believe. Oh, and Jean says that too. I can't believe that didn't click till now. Oh my god. Definitely slowing down here, I guess. Oh goodness. Okay, I like that idea a lot now. All right, there. Now I'm starting to cruise now that all that beginning stuff is kind of out of my way. All right, here's my first applique pin. I'm just gonna remove him. So these applique pins are just basically keeping this fold for me until I get up to it. Glue would have done the same thing, but I don't know. In this case, with just a piece this long, these applique bits are faster. And we couldn't do that for the sewing, like the machine sewing that we did earlier, because again, like someone mentioned, having pins down there, you can't just sew over those pins. So the glue worked really well. I'm really happy with that I had glue within arm's reach, and that it worked out so well, and I don't even have to like do any tacking down like what I'm doing now to like repair anything. So I'm really, really happy with how that turned out. Yeah, I'm going through a lot of fabric here though. Am I getting it on the front here? No. I was just checking to see if I was going through too far. I would have been able to see like little bits of my thread on the front, but I can't see it. Just feels like actually this fabric's thicker than this like orange fabric is thicker than the rest of the fabric. I think that's maybe what I'm feeling. The hair floofier and hair thicker. I think you guys, I think I might just stitch this one today and call it an afternoon. John and I have some work to do upstairs yet, so we're remodeling basically from nothing, just about our upstairs, which is just a half story, like a little half attic story. We put in a bathroom, and our bed's gonna be there, and we're gonna put in a nursery as well. And we need to finish some of the bathroom stuff, so we're gonna put in. We gotta finish the grout, like the final little like sweep over of the grout, and do some cleanup. So I think that's gonna, and we gotta move like a bunch of junk down to the basement and stuff. So that's gonna be our rest of the day until we get tired, which will be pretty quick. But yeah, so I think we'll finish stitching this guy and call it a day. I am really, really happy to have come hang out with you guys again. I'm definitely gonna try and do it again. It has all kind of hinged on John's family being here helping with the upstairs. So it's been just loud and construction-y. So this is, and then one other time we visited family. So this has been kind of the first time I'm able to come on. So I am hoping to do it again before baby. Hoping to do it after baby. We'll see. It's a whole pile of question mark at that point, right? So we will just see. See where this goes doing these lives like this. But this is great. I'd love to come back on, do more of this stitching. We got to cut all that sashing for these big long sashing pieces. I'm really happy with how that turned out, though. I'll take a picture when we're done here and post it in the crafters group, the Penguin and Fish Crafters group on Facebook. So be sure to sign up for that if you're not in there yet. So again, just do a search for Penguin and Fish Crafters in the groups section, I guess, of however you do that search on Facebook. I'll plop it up in there. But this has been awesome. I've missed this for sure. I guess it's only been like a month, but it feels like forever, especially having done this like every night. Consistently for a long time, years and years and years. You have this much time in between. You guys, I have so many other projects to finish. I'm working on that knitting project still. I gotta get that label on the granny square quilt. I just want all these projects done, and it's just not gonna happen. But I'm excited. I'm excited for a little baby girl to come. That'll be neat. Here's our last little applique pin. But yeah, I like that I could be here a little longer today too. So definitely get on the texting list if you aren't getting our texts yet. I mean, we did try and announce today in email and in the group as well. But the texting is great because we can let you guys know. When there was if you were on yesterday or got the text from yesterday, be sure to use up that 15% off in the shop. There's a little coupon in that text. And yeah, I want to come back here again before baby. And since it's so random, the texting allows me to just be like, hey, I'm coming on. So, and maybe even when baby's here, it'll be even more of like just a pop-on sort of thing. Aunt's asking, how's the knit baby blanket going? I don't think I'll finish that either. I'm actually not, I'm pretty well along with it. So there's a smaller size and there's a larger size. If I only do the small size, I'm more than halfway for sure. I only have a few more blocks. Although, to the large size, I gotta do like more blocks along both edges. And the vote from John and my mom have been to do the bigger blanket. So that's got a ways to go yet too. Maybe I'll take a photo of that too and share my progress on that. Yeah, I'll do that. Maybe I'll putz around on that later today. Oh no, we're doing the upstairs. I gotta work on grout. So many things. That's more important right now because we do. Oh gosh, I like have one stitch left and then I lost my needle here. So let's trim that again. Glue all over my fingers. There we go. But yeah, so the upstairs is most important because we don't have like a nursery area yet. And we actually may not before baby comes, so that'll be interesting. I gotta get. I'm gonna do a knicker knot here again. We gotta get like the pack and play thing. I think that's what we're gonna use as a crib and a bassinet is like the pack and play, which is what we'll bring to like our parents' houses and stuff. I don't know, versus getting a full crib or a full bassinet. I don't know. So we got to get that yet. So we almost have stuff put away enough that we can do that. But yeah, that's the big thing that we got to get like immediately for baby. We got like I had my shower and my mama and dad got us some gifts and my sister and brother-in-law. So or sister-in-law and brother. And so we're good on, we got a little bit of clothing, a little bit of swaddle stuff. We got like a diaper bag and some diapers and wipes and stuff. So we have like day one ready to go. Day one and maybe day two. But we don't have the sleeping situation figured out yet. So that's that pack and play that I want to get. We need to do that. Like, I should order that this weekend. All right, anywho, here is our sashing, our first sashing piece. So here's, again, the hand-stitched look. So up close, you can see all the, like, little baby stitches along the edge versus, again, here's the back of the one that we sewed, that we machine sewed down and glued. I mean, it's probably the most visible right here, but the rest, I think we did pretty dang good job. Like, it's almost invisible on some of these parts that are like the same color and stuff. So getting it done, you guys. Oh, Sharon says, yeah, I'm gonna flip you guys back so I can see you. Hey, I'm gonna read some comments and stuff. So be prepared. Sharon says, be prepared for any time my son was 3.5 weeks early. I know, right? So John's dad has said more than once that John was 6 weeks early, and we're just past that 6-week mark now. So it's been like, oh, the baby could just come now. All right, here's this though, you guys. Here, let me see if I can back up a little more. Gooch. Ugh, it's looking like a quilt. Hard to hold up. There we go. I think we matched up these lines like really, really well. I think they do look like they connect vertically, so that's fun. And then the back, you can barely tell on the back. It just looks like one big piece of cloth, which is kind of cool. It is, obviously segmented into the squares, but it's looking so fun. Ugh, it's like a real quilt. We're getting there. So there's a lot of rows yet to do, but it is looking cute. I love it. Robin says my 3 had all different size Afghans, and to tell you the truth, all 3 carried around the small one that was only about 20 by 20. Yeah, I know, I should. Well, and that's the thing, this blanket that I'm making really probably isn't great for baby because it's like wool, so it's gonna shrink up, and that's why we're like, oh, we should just do the bigger size, because if it shrinks way up when we wash it, then we can use it for like a like a little like carpet sort of rug sort of thing. What got me, I mean, it was silly to do with that yarn, but it was a stitch along project that I wanted to do because the colors reminded me of like the baby blanket I had from my grandma when I was little, which I have the backup blanket of that. So she had done a backup blankie. So I have that, and then mom knit a blanket out of that pretty coral color that I love, and that's cotton. So those will probably be the real blankets. So this one that I'm making, I don't know, is gonna be like the adult blanket while we're sitting in the chair or something, or just like to crawl and lay on. And when we wash it, it'll felt up a little bit, and I don't know. So that's why we're like, the bigger size is probably better. But yeah, I'm sure they'll just like walk around with like a little mini blanket. Uh, my brother and his wife got us like a little blankie that's about this big, really fuzzy, with like a little bear head in the middle. So it's like a stuffed animal bear kind of holding a blanket, but it's just the head of the bear. So that's kind of cute. So I'm thinking that'll be the actual blankie. But yeah, so I'll take a photo of that too and share when we're done here, just so you can see where I'm at with that knit blankie as well. Awesome. So, all right, you guys, I think we will end it there for the day. Like I said, I definitely want to do this again. I'm not sure when that'll be, but I will keep you guys updated. Vote in that poll on like what label we should do. Although I am liking the stork idea, the sewing one with the stork scissors. I do like that idea, so vote for that one. But tell me what you think should be in the label as well in that post. That would be super helpful. That's always, I just never know what to do for that. Because dang, we got some embroidery to do for that as well coming up. So let's get her done. All right. Well, thanks again for joining me, everyone. I really appreciate it. It's nice to be here again. And yeah, get on that texting list, and because I might just be able to pop in for an hour here and there, one of these days. So great. And I will see you around. I'll keep you updated. And thank you very much. Have a lovely, lovely rest of your week. And I'll see you later.